Well, thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah.
You were just saying you have a unique perspective being in a band and being a music photographer.
Yep.
How's that? In my experience, and I'm sure in yours, bands really hate photographers sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
I can understand that. I think it just depends on how you're interacting with bands. Like in my situation, I was in a band first before I was a photographer. You know, it's been in bands for like 11 years. And so I think because of that, when I became a photographer, it was easier to kind of navigate that world because I knew what it was like to be in a band. So there's that empathy of like how a band sees things. And then when I started touring with bands, that is a completely different dynamic than just like being a guy at a show taking pictures. Because I've definitely seen bands and I've seen photographers get really annoyed at each other, like at shows. And I can relate to that, but thankfully it hasn't happened to me. But yeah, I don't know.
That's good.
Definitely. But for sure though, like I've been very fortunate to build really good relationships with the folks that I've worked with. I'm going to try to fix my exposure a little bit on here. It's really...
Oh, no worries.
It's bright. There we go.
I didn't realize you could adjust that.
Yeah. That's better. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those things that you kind of just have to start doing it and make some mistakes, and then you will kind of realize what it, I think everyone has expectations of what it's like to be a music photographer, and then they start doing it and it's just so different than what they thought it was going to be.
Yeah. What were your preconceptions that were crushed upon getting into it?
See, I don't know, because I guess I had more preconceptions about touring in general than I did about music photography. I think one of the things with touring was just like the constant. It's really hard to describe what the expectations I had about touring in the beginning, but I think like it's more about what you learn than what you're expecting. Just like you learn a lot about yourself, living in close proximity to other people. For a month, for 2 months. This last tour was supposed to be 3 months. You sort of like become very honest with yourself about, how long can you go like without showering before you start to have real issues. Just it's stuff like that. But it's been cool though. I've been really happy about it.
That's good. You had this tour 3 months, you said, cut down to 1 because of COVID-19. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Where were you headed? Where were you when you had to turn around?
So it was funny because we were like a month in, and I think like once the virus started to spread quicker, we started talking about like, what's going to happen, like if this gets canceled, how's it going to work? And so they started having conversations, and then they were like, hey, we're going to cut the last half of the tour. So it means we're all going to go home on like March 22nd or something. And this was happening on like March 10th.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we have 1 more week of tour and then we're going home. And then I think we were in Lubbock, Texas when they were like, we're going home tomorrow. And that was on like March 11th or something. Like it was literally the next day. They were like, we're going home tomorrow. So Lubbock, Texas ended up being the last day of tour, and then we went home. The band that I was with War of Ages. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I haven't.
But they're like from all over. So the next day was kind of just everyone like getting to their own specific area of the country. But yeah, it was a lot. It was really interesting to see like the effect of the virus, because we were everywhere. Like we were in San Diego like a couple of days before they put in like their big shelter in place order.
Oh wow.
So like we were in it, and we started to see like how folks were handling it, and And then, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we thought that we were going to be okay because our shows weren't that big. We were like, because we saw folks that were like, we're canceling shows because there are 500 people or whatever, and we weren't even close to that number of people. So we were like, we'll probably be okay. And then the CDC did their whole like no 10-person gathering for 8 weeks, and that was kind of like, yeah, we're out. So.
Yeah, and that number was dwindling too. They were saying for big shows because I'm sure Golden Voice didn't want Coachella to cancel.
Oh God,
they were saying
that's what was so crazy was seeing those cancel, like Coachella, South by, like all of those big festivals like getting canceled.
Yeah, I think when South by canceled, it was like, okay, this is real.
That's when the music industry was like, we are screwed. Once South by canceled, and then it just started to attack smaller and smaller tours. Like I'm good friends with the guys in No Sleeper, and they were just out with Bad Omens. And they had to cut theirs, and once that happened, I'm like, we're not that far. We're not that far off.
Right.
So it was rough, but I'm actually kind of relieved to be home during all of this because it was the stressful part was like seeing the world fall apart and like not being able to like be home. That was really intense. But now we're back.
I know a lot of people who were wherever they were, they decided like, okay, I'm just going to spend, my time or this time with family or with friends. Like they just decided one place to hunker down. And it was like a few people in DC and a couple of people in New York are like, just, okay, this is where I want to be for the next, X amount of months.
Yeah.
And hopefully less, but
you never know.
Yeah. It's kind of a relief. Yeah.
I honestly have kind of been enjoying the isolation. So I'm in Nebraska, and Nebraska doesn't have a stay-at-home order yet.
Oh, really?
Not yet. They're one of like the 4 states that doesn't have like a total lockdown. Because where are you at?
Southern California. I'm in Rancho Cucamonga.
So you're in SoCa. You are stuck where you're at.
Yeah.
But in Nebraska, they're still pretty lax on it. I don't know how long it's going to last for. But even so, I think the general consensus in Nebraska is still that like you shouldn't go outside if you don't have to.
Right.
So most folks like myself are kind of just voluntarily self-isolating, and I've enjoyed it a lot because I spent the last month on tour constantly with people and talking to people. And now I can just stay home, play my PS4, not do anything. So it's it's been honestly pretty good right now. So
yeah, it's nice. There's going to be a certain point where everybody is tired of this. And
oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of us already are, but
yeah, like, I just, in some way I'm like definitely tired of it, but I think a lot of I think being able to still go like grocery shopping and do essential things is kind of what is keeping me through.
Yeah. Like if we couldn't do that, that would be an entirely different conversation.
Oh, yeah,
it's like, you cannot leave the house, period? Okay.
Yeah.
I've been going on drives. Because that's not
I did that a few days ago where I just like I got in my car and I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. I'm just gonna go somewhere. And I think I had to go grocery shopping, but I was like, I'm gonna go to the store like way on the other side of the town just to be in my car.
Yeah.
In my home. But,
and there's something about listening to the radio in your car that's totally different. Totally. Very relaxing, I guess. I have this nice view of the valley below that is now very clear because there's so fewer cars on the road.
Oh, dude, yeah. I think I saw recently that like in like China, like air pollution is at an all-time low because of all this, which kind of makes me laugh. Like this is actually having a pretty positive effect on the environment.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I don't know.
Immediately, I was looking at weather sites to see air quality in LA, and I've never seen so much so many little green spots for all like the stations.
Yeah, because I've been in LA a few times as well, and like I remember just being like, this air like sucks.
It's disgusting. It makes the heat worse too. Like if you came in when it was hot, like it's you just feel gross, you know.
Last time I think I was in LA in August August of 2018, and then the two times, my last tour and this tour, we both had a few days in Southern California, so been there a lot, and it's cool. I like it, I enjoy it, but I don't think I could live there. But I totally get like I get the appeal of it. I think like going to the beach is cool, but that's about it.
I've lived here most of my life. I've gone to the beach. I can't remember the last time I went to the beach.
Yeah, I'm sure that like, once you live with it, like you get tired of it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it seems like it's almost a touristy, because I'm so far
touristy.
away from it.
Yeah,
it's very touristy. It's already always crowded, and it's like it just more often than not, it's more trouble than it's worth. But I'm an hour from the beach, so it's like it's already kind of a project.
It's like a journey for you to go to the beach.
Yeah, it's really a day. Like I'm not going for a couple hours.
You gotta really want it. No, I get it.
Yeah. Have you been going through the old catalogs on Lightroom? And
I actually haven't. Like I've been very just like intentional about taking this time off and good. Not working. Like I got home and I had some work that I had some photo work, because I'm a wedding photographer also when I'm not traveling. So I had I didn't have any photos to edit, but I had some client work I had to do. But I wrapped all that up. So now I'm just like, because you gotta understand, I was gonna be gone for another 2 months. So that means that I had no sessions planned for 2 months. And because of all of this virus stuff, I have no plans on scheduling any sessions for 2 months. So like, I'm literally just like, I got nothing to do. Like I'm working on marketing, doing all that stuff, like all the regular back end stuff you have to do. But like, I'm not like working, which is pretty nice. But
that is nice. I've shot a few weddings, but it was never the bread and butter. So I'm not feeling that hurt.
Yeah, for sure. I'm fortunate because, you know, my first wedding of this year is until the end of May.
Okay.
And we've been talking, they might reschedule. We don't know exactly, but the positive about all of this is that they're talking to me about rescheduling and not going somewhere else. Right. Because a lot of my friends in the industry who had weddings in this time, like they're straight up just out money because their couples rescheduled to that, telling them then they're not available on that date. Or I've seen some folks that like they're still gonna have their wedding during the 10-person limit, but because of that they can't have a photographer, because like some folks it's like they have 10 people already with like their family and themselves. Like we can't have a photographer because we have 10 people already.
You'd be 11.
Be 11. Yeah. And even in Nebraska, like it's still against the law to do that. Like they've still put that into law.
The gathering 10 limit?
People gathering. Yeah. Like people are getting like tickets for that.
Wow. Yeah. Are they high?
I don't know. I personally don't know, but what I do know is that like it's important because, I mean, there were reports of like 50, 60 people like having a party like somewhere. It's like you can't really be doing that right now. But one of the things that I want to do
in LA too, it's like from what I hear, they're not enforcing it as much as they should be, but there are fines for breaking that.
I mean, I can only imagine how taxed the LAPD must be just like trying to get a handle on that. It honestly makes me worry about like crime, because you know, I feel like the police are going to be so maybe not right at this moment, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it got to a point where the police are like so overworked from like, you know, containing everything that like small crimes like can't be like theft or that kind of stuff they don't have any resources for that. But I don't know if it'll get to that point in Nebraska, but definitely in a bigger city I could see that being an issue. But
what city are you in?
I'm in Lincoln, so I'm in the capital of Nebraska. But even that, like, we have like 200,000 people. Like, we're not a big, like, comparatively, not that big. But
no, my suburb has about 240,000.
Yeah, your suburb has that.
Yeah,
our entire city has it.
But it must be nice that, like, not so many people on the road.
Dude, honestly, yeah.
I think we can relate to that.
One of the greatest things is that, like, Lincoln has been very prepared for the virus because we kind of got hit on the back end of it. You know, Seattle, California, New York, they all got hit, like, really tough right at the beginning. But, you know, the hospitals here seem like they're able to, they've been, like, making press releases about how they're very ready to accept COVID-19 patients. But yeah, I don't know. Where was I going with that? Yeah, it
seems like you're
okay here though.
You're a little more prepared.
Yeah,
like you saw how bad it could get in more populous areas. Yeah,
and yeah, definitely it was really bad in the bigger places, but Nebraska's been relatively okay with it.
That's good.
Yeah.
People generally, I think, are, all the complaints aside that, you know, people aren't listening to these orders and whatnot, I think largely people are starting to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially here, it's like people are scared. Like I had to go to the store yesterday, and like now everybody you have to wear a mask now, but like even before then, everybody was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
People are like staying away from each other. My roommate mentioned that that she coughed like into her elbow, right? Like, but this old woman like turned around and just gave her a look, like.
It's just like, dude, I remember I was at Walmart, which is not a good place to be right now. It's not a good place to be ever, but especially right now. And I was walking around and like I heard someone like a few aisles down like cough, and then I heard someone behind me be like, "Oh hell no, we're getting out of here." And I'm like, "Dang, dude, like doesn't travel that far. Just like chill."
But nobody knows. That's the thing.
That is true. Nobody does know. But
yeah,
I just thought the reaction was funny. Like,
yeah,
just really, really, really feeling
zero tolerance.
Yeah, absolutely zero tolerance.
So what kind of shows were you playing? Like you said you were nowhere near 500 people,
yeah,
but like so you're playing much smaller places.
Yeah,
much more packed.
Those shows were like not like houses, but you know, 200-300 people for the most part. War of Ages was supporting a band called Disciple, and they're a bigger band, play a lot of churches now, and they weren't. The tour was not just supporting Disciple; it was just a few dates that were supporting Disciple, and so whenever there was a Disciple show, there'd probably be like 300 people. And then there were sort of these gaps between the Disciple shows where War of Ages would have their own like headlining dates with another band called Convictions, and those shows were kind of in the like the 50 to 90 person range.
Oh, okay.
It was booked pretty last minute, so it was a little tough to get them promoted, but yeah,
still a lot of people.
It was definitely under
nice.
500, so we kept going for a while, but then, you know, that whole thing happened.
It's so messy too, though. Like those shows, and especially in a post-hardcore environment, right? Everybody's moving around, everybody's spilling beers, spilling drinks, touching each other.
It's not sanitary at all.
Yeah. There's just no way
the
to.
bathrooms, like, good God.
I started doing a compilation of just venue bathrooms, like from nice to
it's pretty
horrendous
bad.
And
that was the cool thing about playing in churches is like churches are really well built and they have a lot of money, so like they have like good amenities. It was really really weird playing in a church because like you had a green room for like each band and like really nice bathrooms and like catering. It's just weird.
Nice.
We're not used to that at all. And I should clarify, I was their photographer on this tour, so like I wasn't even playing. Like, I just got
Yeah.
to enjoy all this.
But you got a crack at the cheese plate and all that sort of thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, when you're on tour like that, I mean, I was basically, as far as the venue was concerned, I was a sixth member. I was a member of the band,
Right.
as far as the venue's concerned, because I think there were 7 of us total, because War of Ages has 5 people, and they had me and they had a sound guy. So the venue sees that as just 7 people to feed.
Right.
So
They're not going to
cool.
cut you short or something.
No.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm remembering church bathrooms, like magnificent, sometimes marble, sometimes
Just like,
yeah.
it didn't even feel like we were on tour. Like, I'm like, honestly, it's just, you're just not used to that.
How did you like shooting in a church? What was that like?
Oh, it was fine, because you got to remember, like, this is like a modern church. It's not like a
prairie house looking thing, right?
Yeah, it's like a modern church with like a real good stage and like an actual sound system. Not like a traditional church. So for those shows, Disciple, they had like an entire huge production setup with like a big lighting truss. They had these video walls and like all these lights, all this stuff. So shooting them was pretty cool. And then War of Ages, they obviously didn't have as much. They had like a few blinders and some foggers, but it was really cool. It was very easy to shoot in those churches because they just like they have space, so it's easy to move around. Some of the club venues, not really, but yeah.
I kind of miss that. And I'm sure you can attest to this, getting spoiled by a barrier. As a photographer,
yeah, 100%. Yeah,
yeah.
There were a couple barricades, like legit. There might have been like 2 barricades on this tour, because I don't think neither of the bands either specified to the venue if they wanted a barricade or not. But like some venues, had a built-in barricade that we would use, and yeah, that was cool. It was really nice. But, you know, I think I don't use them as much now because I don't know. My view on concert photography is like, I always try to get more of the audience in it than just like the band. And I think when you tour with a band, it makes a lot more sense because like when you're shooting the same band every single night, like the only variation is going to be the audience, really. So
right,
I think just to keep myself from getting bored, I'm like, I gotta like not be right up on all this and get in there. But
that's always the nice part of like being able to get, and I'll ask you later, but like your favorite position within the crowd. You know,
I think barricades are the greatest thing in the world if you're like a press photographer. Like if you're not traveling with a band, but you're like working for a publication, shooting a band once, like then it is like the greatest thing because you run in there, you get your shit, and then you're out, and it's great.
Yeah. Did you ever? What was the last? Did you shoot any festivals? What was the last one you did?
Technically, yeah. So there's a festival called Face Down Fest. So War of Ages, they're signed to Face Down Records. So every year, Face Down Records, they have like a little festival. It was at Chain Reaction.
Okay.
Yeah. So not festival like when I think of festival, I think of like outdoor, like Warped Tour type festival. But
right.
Nah, it was just like an indoor. But yeah, it was cool. There were 7 or 8 bands the first day, and then like another 8 the next day. So
yeah, I would qualify that as festival.
Oh yeah,
too,
I definitely qualified as a festival.
All day
sure,
things,
but
you know.
It's just not what pops into my head when I think of a festival. Yeah,
I was thinking of like when you said it's great to shoot as a press photographer for behind a barrier. Have you noticed like more stringent policies with letting photographers in there?
It depends. I think it entirely depends on management. Because I mean, I've been there. I think when you're a touring photographer, you kind of don't have any restrictions. You can go wherever. And I think any Live Nation venue, is not necessarily stringent, but they're very clear about it, which is nice. I really enjoy shooting at Live Nation venues because like their day sheets are so good. But I think, yeah, a lot of times theaters will kind of get you with that. You know, places that may or may not like have a lot of shows are usually like, hey, you can only like first 3 songs only. Although first 3 songs is pretty standard. And then some places are more stringent on like backstage access. But if I'm being honest, most of the venues we played at didn't even have a backstage, so it wouldn't have mattered. But
right.
And I think because you know I don't shoot shows that much unless I'm touring. So you know when you're on the road with the band, I just don't even notice if there are restrictions or not because I just know they're not going to apply to me.
Right.
So I kind of just do my thing. But
yeah, that makes sense. Who was your favorite to shoot? Who's your favorite band to shoot, or maybe festival to
definitely
shoot?
War of Ages, like the most recent one for sure. You know, I was technically out with O Sleeper last year. Not with them, but I was with a support band called Earth Groans, and they were supporting O Sleeper, so we kind of worked together that way. They were pretty cool. But War of Ages, I think not necessarily because of like the shows themselves, but like War of Ages are just good dudes. Like they were really fun dudes to be around, so like that makes it more fun to shoot them performing. But yeah, that was definitely, those are the good ones.
Yeah, man, I miss it. Yeah. I miss the smaller shows for sure.
Dude, yeah, I mean honestly, I love DIY shows so much.
Yeah.
Like there's a completely different energy to them, which I think is really, really awesome. Yeah.
There's always that sense of like hyper professionalism in, say, a big theater, like you were saying with Live Nation or
there's so much
Golden Voice
like bureaucracy involved.
Yeah, there's like always somebody with something in their ear. Yeah. Like there's always a suit walking around.
You're like, hey,
can
I get some water? And they're like, oh, let me ask the stage manager. And it's like, I thought you were the stage manager.
Yeah, it's like, could you just grab it?
Like, they're like,
oh
no, I'm the production manager. And I'm like, that's the same thing. But yeah,
house show. Nothing beats a house show.
Oh, dude, I
like if you want to go back to those.
My, funny thing. So my band, we've been performing for about a little over 2 years, and our first show was a house show, and it was bad. Just because we're all competent musicians, but I think no matter what band you're in, your first show is always something's gonna screw up. And our guitar amp just fried halfway through our first song. It blew a fuse. So thankfully one of the other bands really quickly just let us use our stuff, and we were the last band too, so it didn't really matter time wise. But it didn't really matter because we were the last band. But there was a good 15 minutes of us trying to figure out how to make this happen. And then because our set was 20 minutes long. It was not a long set anyway. So
yeah,
thank God for
but
that.
Then you spent half of it troubleshooting.
Oh
and
God, yeah. But thankfully we haven't had any problems since that. But I guess we've played house shows since then. But I like them. I like them a lot, especially when there's a lot of people there. That's when it's the best. But
yeah, everybody packed into a garage or a living room or something. It's just awesome.
It's good times.
I love those. Yeah, there's one out here that's legendary among all the punks in San Bernardino.
Yeah,
and it's just a house that has shows constantly. Well, not anymore, but it seemed like once a week for a while. It was great. Yeah, and it's just BYOB, respect the space.
Yeah. No, there was definitely etiquette that I think was just very commonly known. That was super cool.
Yeah, I miss those.
Yeah.
I miss a lot of photography. I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to do more because you could still leave the house, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to just find projects, trying to find something to do. They closed all that hiking trails, so that's out.
Sucks. We were in Yosemite on this tour. We spent the night there. We went camping. That was incredible. It was my first time there. I'm sure you've been there tons of times because you live there.
I actually haven't.
Really? You gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta go, man. Once it opens back up, you gotta go. Because we went camping. And honestly, like camping out there makes me want to do more camping.
Yeah.
But the band, we just rolled up. There was like no cell service. Driving through the mountains, it was super scary with a van and trailer, but you made it happen. But a place like Yosemite, you literally cannot take a bad picture. Like anything will look good, no matter where you are.
Right.
So that was super. That was probably my favorite time on tour, because then we had a campsite, started a fire, just brought a bunch of hot dogs and just charred them over. Like it was a good time. So
it's so cool.
I want to try to find a way to do that in Nebraska, but I don't even know. Like I got to figure out if the campsites here are still open. I haven't looked into that yet, but I hope they are.
Well, if the state is being reluctant, you might have some luck.
Yeah, who knows?
Worst case, they'll kick you out like halfway through as soon as you get the first hot dog on the bun.
I mean, hopefully, you would think that like a campsite would be the good place to practice social distancing, but I imagine that a lot of people are having that same idea. So,
yeah. We have just like this little hiking trail in my city, and or not hiking, like running and biking, whatever, and it just kind of like goes through the city, and it's still open despite everything else being closed down, and everybody now wants to be healthy and get out and all that, and I'm like, I thought I could, this would be a great way to break this social distancing thing, and nope, now everybody wants to suddenly do it. So yeah, it shouldn't be a surprise, but it definitely is. What was it like? So you said you were worried about having the trailer and the van out in Yosemite. Did you ever run into any trouble on the road?
No, not really. It was just like the thing. You're just going up so high, and the roads are so narrow that you really just gotta. You just gotta watch yourself. There was one instance where we had to pull over one time because the brakes started to get really hot. So we had to pull over. The brakes kind of started to smoke up a little bit.
Oh, jeez.
It wasn't anything bad. Like they weren't on fire or anything. We just had to pull over, let them chill out for a bit. And it was really cool because we found out it was a really good spot to have to stop because it was just a really cool view. And so we were all just chilling there for a bit. Like we stopped for maybe like 10 minutes and then we're back on it. But yeah, thankfully it didn't like snow or anything. If it snowed, it would have been bad. But there's just a lot of cliffs. But
yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Almost without a hitch. Then.
Oh yeah, totally without a hitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Okay, man.
Are you doing any like tentative planning for post quarantine?
Yeah,
life?
I mean, I already have a few more. I have a couple tours hopefully lined up later in the summer. I can't say them yet, but and we're getting some planning happening. It's obviously hard because who knows if the world's going to open back up in like July or August. I have no idea. But plans are being made. We'll see. I think if I don't know like if the virus will be completely gone by July, but I'm wondering if we'll get to a point. I'm hopeful that we can get to a point where we can at least like bands can at least go on tour. By July, that'd be great. But
they just extended it here.
Yeah, to like
in
to
LA
like May,
to
like middle of
May 15th. Yeah. They just keep pushing it, and it's nice. Like I saw this tweet about it. That just hit the nail on the head. They were saying, of course, they're not going to tell us we're shut down for the end of the year. They're just going to tell us like a month at a time or a few weeks at a time because we wouldn't be able to handle it. We'd go nuts.
Oh yeah.
If they said, okay, nothing till December.
Because
I
think
no, we're not going to do that.
If you were to tell an entire populace like, hey, you guys can't leave your house till December, I think your success rate would just plummet because you'd have folks that were like, screw that, I'm not gonna follow that. Versus, I feel like if you go month by month, like you're still gonna have a collapse, but it's gonna be later than if you were just like, you're gonna make it a few more months before the whole populace just revolts. But
yeah.
It's,
because I thought about that too. It's like if they just said nothing till December, I'd be like, I'm not gonna. I don't know if I want to listen to that, but not like anything's gonna be open, so you can't really do anything.
Yeah,
especially for bands.
That is true. Like, you can go outside, but all the restaurants are closed. Everything's closed. Like, that's still happening here. Like, most of our restaurants have closed, or at least they're doing delivery only. But like all the tattoo shops, all the hair places, all the stores, most of them are stores are closed. Some stores are still open, but they're like only doing curbside delivery, or some stores are still just like straight up open as normal, but they're maintaining social distancing within the store. I go shooting, so our gun store is still open for the most part.
That's essential.
Yeah, it is essential. Damn right, it's essential. But yeah, most of the places. So like even if everyone was just like, screw it, we're leaving, like there would be nothing to do. So yeah.
Man, shooting sounds fun,
dude. It is a lot of fun. Although I'm mad because the store that I go to, they have an indoor shooting range, which is usually where I go, but they closed the shooting range because of social distancing. So I think my friend told me about a piece of land like in the middle of nowhere that you can go shooting at. So I kind of want to try that. But yeah, it's
you've
fun.
Got a lot of land out there, right?
Yeah,
so.
Dude, Nebraska. Yeah, there's a lot of land out here in Nebraska. But because like it's funny because you look at Nebraska, and we have two big cities. We have Lincoln. We have Omaha. And I think a lot of folks that come to Nebraska assume that Omaha is the capital if they've been to Omaha, because it feels like a kind of big city. Not really, but you know what I mean.
Bigger than Lincoln for sure. Then.
Yeah, like by a good amount. And they're like right next to each other. Like Lincoln is 1 hour away from Omaha. So, and both these cities are on the eastern side of Nebraska. So like right just in the little end of Nebraska, and then everything west of that is just like so barren. Like you have tiny cities all the way west till you hit like Kearney, but even Kearney, like that's not really a big city. And so driving from Lincoln to like Denver, like to Colorado, is so annoying because you're driving through literally nothing for like 7 hours. Yeah. And even in Colorado, like Colorado has a lot of that until you get to Denver. Like,
right. Yeah. Until you hit Vail and all the Rockies.
You don't get out of the plains until you're in Denver. So
yeah. I'm just on the other side, right? So like I took a trip to Denver in like 2009 or something like that, just with a friend, and it was the most beautiful drive I had ever done.
So good. It's
but from this side of it,
so good.
Yeah, and it was snowing. Like we got snowed out. My first time driving in snow.
Oh
like
God, yeah.
There were a lot of like dangers to it.
It is a beautiful drive.
Oh yeah, going through Utah, going through like one little corner of Arizona where all these rock formations are.
I think I want to move to Utah, like not anytime soon, but like way later in life. Like I could see myself settling down in Utah because like every time I've been to Salt Lake City, I'm just like, this is so cool.
I keep hearing that Salt Lake City is a great place, and I've never been.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think the big thing is it's beautiful.
Right,
like literally, if you're in Salt Lake City, you are surrounded by mountains. Anywhere you look, there's mountains. But then also, it's really cheap to live there. Like, I mean, obviously, I should preface, Nebraska is extremely cheap to live. So anywhere I go is going to be more expensive. But compared to other places like Utah, you could find like 1-bedroom apartments in Utah for like under $1,000 easy.
What?
Yeah, I live alone right here in an apartment. I pay $450 a month.
What?
Yeah,
$450 for a 1-bedroom.
1 bedroom. It's 600 square feet. Like,
oh my
for
God.
$450 a month. It's the one way that I can flex on my friends from California is like, you guys have all this cool shit, but I pay like no money to live. So
yeah, my rent is $1,000 a month, roughly.
Do you live alone?
Yeah. No, I have a roommate. I split
is
this
it
with somebody.
with the roommate or?
No, it's 1,000 just for me. So it's like 20.
So it's like 2,000. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 2,000 plus utilities, which we tend to keep low.
It's $450 plus utilities here too. So it ends up being like $600 a month. But still, it's like that's like nothing.
Deal.
And it's great because when I'm touring, like that's one of the most difficult things about being on tour for a really long time, is like you're paying your same monthly bills, but you're not home.
Yeah.
And so at least when I'm not home, my monthly bills aren't that much. So.
Right, you're essentially just paying rent and internet.
My utilities are very cheap when I'm not home.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah, honestly like being in Nebraska is tight. Like it. I think a lot of folks have this like when someone says Nebraska, they like have this thought in their head of like what Nebraska is, but like it's a really cool place and it's unbelievably cheap to live. So I'm staying here for a bit, but you know, if I could get up and move anywhere in the country, it'd definitely be to Utah.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't quite had the Colorado effect where like everyone wants to move to Colorado or you know, everyone wants to live in California. Although I think California is on the reverse of that now, or like folks in California are like, I want to get out of California now.
It's getting too crowded.
It's getting too crowded, yeah. And the same thing's going to happen to Colorado. But
well, since legalization, they were saying 10,000 a month were moving to the state.
Yeah,
some crazy amount. And I went there in 2009, and then I went there again like 3 years ago, I think, about 2 or 3 years ago.
I was just in Colorado. We went to Colorado on this tour. So
okay.
There's a restaurant.
How did it feel?
There's a restaurant in Denver called Illegal Pete's, which is like Chipotle but like way better. But their whole thing is they have what's called their starving artist program, and bands that are on tour can apply and they'll just get free food.
What?
Yeah,
that's so cool.
You 2 days before you get there, you like fill out a form that's like, we're in this band, we're on this tour, there's 7 of us, and then you can apply for it, and then they just give you a free meal, and it's amazing. It's so good. But
that's so cool.
It's something like if I ever go back to Denver, like whenever I go back to Denver, I will always do that just because it's so good. But both the times that I've been to Denver recently have been on tour, so kind of works out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Denver's so nice. Like people there are just so
I do like
kind.
A lot.
Yeah,
but that's
been there
one of those
twice, and I just fell in love with it both
times. It's so
times.
expensive to live there. But it is
but to me it's pretty cheap.
Oh, sure. Compared to California, absolutely. I mean, everything compared to California is going to be cheap, except New York City. But
that's out of the question.
New York and New York City and California are kind of in their own. They're like in their own world. But yeah, Denver is really cool.
I look on like Zillow every now and then, just in downtown Denver, where like it's a major city, right?
Oh,
and
absolutely,
it feels like a major city, but it's still like it doesn't feel like LA. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, nothing feels like LA.
Right.
The first time my first time in LA, I had a 45-minute Lyft ride to go like 5 miles, and it was just like, what the heck?
Nah.
And it cost like $30. I was in LA for like 4 days, and I spent $200 on Lyft. It was so stupid.
Oh my god!
But I had to. Like, I had to go from LAX to Van Nuys, and then back and forth, and then just random places in LA. But the first time I got on the 405 and experienced that, like,
oh god,
never again. I never want to do that again.
Yeah. Then you get home to Nebraska, and you're like, oh my god, I can see the horizon.
Here, like traffic can get. I think, LA traffic is so bad partly because like they have enough roads for the traffic to be bad. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Nebraska traffic gets bad, but our roads are legitimately just smaller. Like, we don't have as many like 4 or 5 lane roads as you do in LA. But when I got home to Nebraska, I was like, this traffic is nothing compared to LA. Like, not even close.
Yeah, you never feel more grateful than to just like, oh,
Yeah.
what a relief.
I can drive and not have to plan 45 minutes in advance.
Yeah. And that's why I don't go to the beach, because it takes forever.
Oh, God, yeah. If it's an hour away, it's probably going to take you 2 hours to get there.
3 hours back.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Where did you play in LA?
So this time in LA was Chain Reaction.
Right.
Actually, yeah. Both times that I went to LA on tour were in Chain Reaction. And then I went there on my own a couple of years ago to shoot a wedding. And that was I think shooting the wedding was the most fun because I had more time there. Like I was there for like 4 days versus being there for a day on tour.
Right.
But yeah, that was really cool. Although on both the tours we went to a lot more places in California. So like on this tour we were in Sacramento, we were in Fresno and San Diego. And that was pretty cool. Fresno is dope. I don't care what anyone says. I like Fresno a lot.
That's where all my friends who were in band in high school, they always had a thing in Fresno,
Yeah.
like the big
dude, Fresno is sick.
thing. Yeah, I hear good things. I haven't been up north since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like totally Southern California.
Yeah. I get you.
For no reason at all. I just don't get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about San Diego? What was that like?
San Diego was really
I mean, besides having to cancel the tour.
Yeah. That's for sure. San Diego was cool. San Diego, we all went to the beach. Had some really good food, hung out with some cool dudes. We hung out with the vocalist from As I Lay Dying, which is pretty sick.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just randomly they knew him. Like, that was cool. We ate we got so much sushi. It was one of those places where like it's all you can eat. So you pay one price and you can get as much as you want. But if you don't eat it, you have to pay for it. So like,
oh yeah,
there was pressure. Yeah. Like we ordered so much and we're like, we gotta eat all of this. But it was pretty good.
Especially like with rice, like you can't even save the rice or anything that, or you can't get a to-go box.
I mean, in general,
some of them don't even carry.
You can't save sushi. Like I'm one of those folks where like I believe like if you can't take home sushi, it's just not gonna be good.
Yeah, but you're also like 1,000 miles from the nearest body of water, so
that is a good point. Yeah. I mean, Nebraska sushi is pretty good if you go to a restaurant, but it's nothing compared to like California or one of those places. But
fish is fish. If it's not expired, I'll eat it.
Oh, dude, same.
You know,
Absolutely.
I love fish.
I love fish so much. Before all this outbreak stuff happened, I'd get these like bags of frozen fish from Costco. And that was like my jam. Like wild salmon from Costco is like so good.
I got this giant cod from a place called Winco out here.
You probably have options in Southern California.
Yeah, we got a few for sure. But even then, like I just went for like the basic, just cod is super cheap.
Yeah.
It was like $14 for this massive piece.
It's really easy to cook too.
Oh yeah, and I just made all kinds of things with it. It was amazing. I had to go there, but that's one of those like sort of it's Costco, but you don't need a membership, and it's a lot smaller. Yeah, so you can get they have the pillars of like beans and rice and that sort of thing, and you just like fill up your bags and whatnot.
Okay, man.
Yeah, but they got hit hard during. I bet. Yeah, so everybody was stocking up. And,
And everyone's stocking up here too. We finally the last couple times I went to the store, they had toilet paper, so that was kind of a good sign. But man, like when I got,
I had a few rolls left.
When I got home, there was nothing. So
you had to start taking it from anywhere you can get it.
Yeah, there's a lot of produce, a lot of fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. Folks weren't getting that. But it's just like it was all the rice, beans, and pasta that were gone.
Yeah,
but I was still like fine. I was like, I can like just buy fresh food and then I'm good.
Yeah,
but because I've had a lot of rice. I mean, I'm Korean, so I have rice all the time. But so I had a lot of rice already, so I didn't need to get more. But one of my friends, I texted him. I'm like, hey, tour got canceled. I'm coming home early. And he's like, hey, do you want me to go to the store and get you stuff because you're not here? And he bought me like a bunch of rice. Which ended up coming in super clutch because as I found out, there was none when I got home. So
yeah,
ended up working out.
Perfect timing. Yeah, I have like this 3-pound bag that I've had for a long time, and I was like, oh, dude, perfect.
It'll last.
Everything's gone.
Don't need a whole
I
lot.
can't even find yeast at the store to make bread.
That's really,
like everybody's taking everything.
Dude, that's hilarious. They're taking the yeast.
Yeah, like the little packets of yeast. I'm like, man, people thought about this.
That's funny.
I kind of sold them short.
Yeah.
I didn't think that anybody would bother to start making bread or anything.
Dude.
And our produce was gone. But then like all that was left was like parsley and lemons and like just a weird mix of things you can't really do anything with. Yeah, it's starting to come back.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
It will be.
Well, thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah, man.
Great talking to you.
Too.
Great hearing from a fellow photographer and musician.
Yeah.